Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. Champions League draw day today. It is so good to be back in the Champions League. To hear that Champions League music ringing out at the Emirates Stadium, I cannot wait. Fantastic. And also yesterday we got to find out who we're going to be playing in the third round of the Carabao Cup. Not an easy draw, tricky one actually. Away to Brentford, not very glamorous and not very easy at all. So that's what team we're going to face. And it just goes to show when you start to see these games now approaching, you know, because we've just been looking on it so far from a Premier League's point of view. But Champions League, excess amount of games, Carabao Cup, more games to be thrown in. This is where you need a good squad of players going into the new season, and this is when you start to see it. So who are Arsenal going to buy, and also who's going out? Lots of players leaving at the moment. Balogun yesterday officially left Arsenal and joined Monaco on a permanent deal, said to be around about £35 million, about 40 million euros plus add-ons. We're not quite sure what those add-ons are, and a very good release clause, well, sell-on clause, should I say, that Arsenal have inserted into it, where if they sell Balogun, Arsenal will get 17.5% of any future sale. That is a big amount. That is significant. So very good bit of business there by Arsenal, and good luck to following Balogun. The scout who spotted him, I was talking to him a couple of days ago, right? If you was ever to hear the story of how Balogun was brought into the club, you'd be amazed, right? And you know, these scouts, you know, I'm like, you should get some little sort of sell on or some little sort of clause when, you know, a player like this that you spotted, you know, playing just local football has ended up going for, you know, the biggest amount of money that Arsenal ever made for a player. But no, they just get their set wages week in, week out. Not very good. But who else is going to be going? Sambi Lokonga looks like he's on his way out as well. He's been very heavily linked today with Galatasaray, and his representatives are set to be meeting with Galatasaray today. He's definitely going to be leaving before the end of the window. Arsenal pushing for him to go. Whether it be a permanent or another loan, we are unsure at the moment, but it does look like Sambi Lokonga will be leaving. Now, I was looking at this today, and of course, there's only 2 days to go. I can't believe it after all these months of doing this show. 2 days to go, today and tomorrow. The window shuts tomorrow at 11 p.m. and then that is it. That is your team until January at least. And I was looking at it and saying, surely, Arsenal must sign a defender before the transfer window shuts. We are looking light on the ground. If you look at it and you say, Rob Holding's going to leave, right? And I spoke about this one yesterday. Mallorca are interested in him. Real Betis over there in Spain. There's other clubs over here in the Premier League that want Rob Holding as well. Looks like Holding will go before the end of the summer transfer window tomorrow. So Holding's going to go. Nuno Tavares is gone. He's going to Nottingham Forest. So again, that's another option over there on left back. He's gone. Cedric, of course, he's still here at the moment. Cedric, right? He's been quietly going along with business, but he didn't figure in pre-season. He hasn't figured in any of the match day squads. He's been training away from the first team. They definitely want to see if they can move Cedric out, possibly on a loan, before the end of the transfer window as well. So that's 3 defenders right there that are going to go. You put into it the fact that, of course, you know, Urian Timber, who came in, who was really, really versatile, could play right back, centre back, left back. Brilliant player to have because, you know, he covers all those positions. We know that he's going to be out for a very significant amount of time with that ACL injury. We'll be lucky to see him this season. So no Urian Timber. Even when you look at a player like Thomas Partey, who's been filling in at right back, come January, African Cup of Nations, he'll be missing for a couple of weeks at least from Arsenal's team. Tomiyasu could be missing as well. I just see that he's been called up again for Japan. He's a Japanese international. And you've got the Asian Cup going on this year, for which you would expect Tomiyasu to be called up for that as well. So when you go through Arsenal's list of defenders, at the moment, it's Ben White, Tomiyasu, Saliba, Gabriel, Kivior, Zinchenko. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 6. And I guess you can put Partey kind of in there because he can fill in at right back. 6 defensive players. And we got Premier League, Champions League, Carabao Cup, and even when you think about it, out of those 6, we've seen Tomiyasu be out for a while last season, loads of last season with injury. Saliba was missing for the end part of last season with injury. There's been rumors about Gabriel, even being sold. Surely that can't happen. And no way could that happen now. And of course, Zinchenko has had a lot of injuries as well. So surely, Arsenal must sign a defender before deadline day, or we're going to leave ourselves short in that area. Now, will they move for Eric Garcia of Barcelona? The Daily Star reporting today saying that Eric Garcia is open to a move away from Barcelona now. There's been conflicting reports because Mundo Deportivo say that Xavi wants to keep him at the club, although we have heard Xavi saying that, I want to keep Ansu Fati and all these sort of players, and we'll get to him later on. But he's saying he wants to keep him. There's been lots of interest as well for Eric Garcia from Girona, another La Liga club. They're desperate to sign him or to bring him in on loan. Could Arsenal make a late move for Eric Garcia? He's been in the Premier League before with Manchester City, so he knows the Premier League, even though he was used sparingly, but he knows he's played in England before. And Arsenal said to be interested in him. It's going to be very interesting to see if Arsenal make a move for Eric Garcia, possibly on loan, before the end of the transfer window. And then I spoke yesterday about Alexander Barr of Benfica, Danish right back, but again, versatile, can play attacking midfield, can play right wing. Again, those rumours fueled yesterday by the Danish outlet Tips Bladet, that claimed that Arsenal are one of the clubs inquiring about the versatile defender. Very, very interested to possibly make the signing of Barr. Or could Arsenal possibly make another move, a late move, for Kyle Walker-Peters, formerly of Tottenham, of course, Southampton player. Listen, an experienced player, 26, but now in the Championship with Southampton. We know they were relegated. Southampton do not really want to sell him. He's they see him as a key player to try and get back up into the Premier League, and they've already sold quite a few of their players. But he can play right back, he can play left back, valued at around about £25 million. That's the sticking point. Are Arsenal going to outlay that sort of money before the end of the transfer window? They would prefer a loan because obviously Timber's injured, and Timber's going to be that main guy once he does get back to fitness. But that could be, we don't even know how long that could be. I mean, even when I look over to the women and the women's game, there's some of the Arsenal players that picked up ACLs, like Beth Mead. She's only just come back to the team now. And that's a whole season that she spent out. Now, listen, ACLs can differ depending on the individuals and depending on the extent of whether it's a tear or, but he's going to be missing Timber for a long time. So surely Arsenal have to sign a defensive player. And it's going to be really interesting in the next 48 hours to see what Arsenal do. They sprung a lot of surprises this summer. Will Arsenal spring a surprise before the end of the transfer window? One player that Arsenal not getting is Ansu Fati. This one was a real shock yesterday when we learned that he's on his way to Brighton. Brighton pulled off a real coup with this one, taking Ansu Fati on loan to the end of the season. Now, should Arsenal be trying to get in there and hijack this one? I guess the thing is that Brighton can say to Ansu Fati, you're going to play literally week in, week out. Arsenal can't promise him that for sure. He'd be coming in as a backup to, Saka, or if he's over on the left, and Martinelli, Trossard. There's so many players ahead of him, and to be really honest, it's not really what we need right now. It'd be a bit of a vanity signing. But he's on his way to Brighton. I'll tell you, Brighton making moves. But does that mean that Emil Smith-Rowe is staying at Arsenal? Because the fact that Arsenal if Arsenal would have moved for, say, an Ansu Fati, and there was a lot of talk about this a couple of weeks ago, what does happen to somebody like Emil Smith-Rowe? It pushes them down the pecking order even more. We know that Arsenal have turned down advances from Chelsea, but will he be staying? Looks like he's staying at this moment in time, but will he survive until the end of the window, or will Arsenal be tempted to send him out on loan as well? Got to be very careful here not to weaken the squad too much with so many games ahead of us. As I said, Champions League draw, Carabao Cup, FA Cup later on in the year. Got to be very careful here not to weaken the squad too much. So those are the rumours today. There are only 48 hours to go until the window closes. Of course, it closes tomorrow at 11 p.m. We're going to be covering absolutely every movement when it comes to Arsenal. So anything that happens, you will not miss a thing. We'll be giving you updates for it on YouTube, on all of our social platforms. So make sure you subscribe or follow us right now. Thanks for watching the show, and I will see you tomorrow.